Hey y'all, it's me Sydney and welcome back to Planet Sid. Today we are going to be discussing the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial and just some different things that I've observed on social media and the public's response to it. So if you guys are interested in that, then stay tuned. So if you're active on social media or if you have been for the past few years, you've probably been following the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. But if you don't know, Johnny Depp, who is 58, needs no introduction. He's a very talented actor and he's considered like a legend, I guess, in Hollywood. You've seen him in films like Pirates of the Caribbean, Edward Scissorhands, Sweeney Todd, and like any Tim Burton film, to name a few. And his ex-wife, who is Amber Heard, who is 36 now, she's been in films like Zombieland, Pineapple Express, and Aquaman. So I just want to give you guys a quick timeline just to give you guys some clarity and also sum up how we even ended up here. Well, they ended up here. So Johnny and Amber met on the set of the film Run Diaries, which they were both starring in 2009, and they began to date in 2012 and eventually tied the knot in 2015. So after just 15 short months of marriage, Amber decided to file for divorce from Johnny in 2016, and she also obtained a temporary restraining order claiming that he abused her while under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and Johnny denied these accusations, and both parties ended up reaching a $7 million settlement out of court in August of 2016, which Amber pledged to donate to charity. So after all this had happened, everybody just thought that they got divorced and they ended up reaching a settlement out of court, so we thought that that was the end of it. And they ended up releasing a joint statement stating, quote, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party made false accusations for financial gain. There was never an intent of physical or emotional harm." So fast forward to June of 2018, Johnny sues the UK publisher The Sun for calling him a quote-unquote wife beater. Fast forward to December of 2018, Amber ended up writing an op-ed for the Washington Post detailing how women who come forward about abuse aren't supported and how people protect powerful men, basically. And so in March 2019, Johnny sued Amber for $50 million for defamation over her op-ed piece, calling her claim of domestic abuse, quote, "categorically and demonstrably false," unquote, and also claiming that it cost him lucrative acting roles as well. So fast forward to July of 2020, Johnny's lawsuit against the UK publisher The Sun goes to trial over the 2018 article where they call Johnny Depp an alleged wife beater, which Johnny denied all claims of the abuse, and Amber even had to testify, which revealed even more shocking allegations that leaked to the public. In August of 2020, Amber decided to countersue Johnny for $100 million, claiming that he allegedly orchestrated a smear campaign and that his defamation lawsuit is a continuation of abuse and harassment. In November of 2020, Johnny lost his lawsuit with The Sun, and in March of 2021, last year, the court denied Johnny's permission to appeal his loss in the Sun case, and in April of 2022, so last month, the defamation trial that Leo, he just scratched my leg. Leo, go away, go lay down. Anyways, lastly, in April of 2022, which was last month, the defamation case goes to trial, which we're all watching right now. And in a way, it has captivated the world in something I have never seen. I'm only 23, so I haven't been alive for too many big, high-profile court cases. But it still has a few more weeks to go, but it's really the only thing that I see when I open up Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything. That's why I'm here right now making this video. That's the timeline, a very brief, condensed order of events. So next we're going to dive into the accusations of what each party is actually accusing the other of, and I'll have everything in timestamps below, so if you guys just want to look at that just to get a gist of what we'll be talking about, you're more than welcome to. This current defamation trial traces back to the op-ed that Amber Heard wrote for the Washington Post in 2018, and I'll have it linked down below if you guys want to take a look at it, but it basically describes how society treats women who stand up against powerful men when they're abused, and she referred to herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. Now, in this op-ed, she never names Johnny, but the general public assumed that it was about him, considering the fact that they were recently married before then and they were just divorced, and so everybody put two and two together, but I do want to note that she never named him. And when that happened, it really set the internet on fire. Literally everybody was either Team Johnny or Team Amber. One side was trying to disprove the other, but this wasn't the first time domestic violence was brought up in regards to their relationship. The first time was when Amber, of course, filed the restraining order back in 2016 after she filed for divorce. They did end up reaching a settlement outside of court, and they released that joint statement. And in that statement, they did say that they were, quote unquote, at times volatile. So there had to be some truth to what Amber was saying, and Johnny is denying all claims of abuse and accusing Amber of alleged domestic abuse, saying that he is the real victim, and he's also accusing her of having extramarital affairs with Elon Musk and James Franco, which Amber denies as well. So now I want to get into the actual facts, the actual factuals of this case, because I was very intrigued. And I think I was intrigued because honestly, it's such polarizing views on the internet, which we'll get into later in the video. But yeah, we're gonna look at the actual facts of the case. So we're gonna split this part up into 3 separate ones. So we're gonna look at the restraining order / the joint statement first. So the restraining order that Amber had filed traces back to an incident at their home on May 21st of 2016, where Johnny allegedly threw a phone at Amber's face, which caused some bruising on her eyes and cheek. And Amber also alleged that he continued to scream and pull her hair and violently grabbed her face. And she also stated that he, quote, broke a lot of glass things and left glass on the floor. During this incident, Amber Heard's friend, Rachel Pennington, who also lived in the adjacent apartment, came over after Amber Heard sent her a text. And allegedly when Rachel arrived, she did hear Johnny yelling and Amber asking for help. And so Rachel, Amber's friend, said that she saw Johnny, quote, swinging around a Magnum bottle of wine and knocking things off of the counter with it, unquote, which prompted his security team to intervene and convince Johnny to leave. So that was like the little scuffle that they had. And so after this, Amber eventually called the police, and they ended up taking a statement from her and Rachel, and the police officer concluded that there was, quote unquote, no evidence of any crime. But before this incident occurred, exactly a month before, on April 21st of 2016, was Amber's 30th birthday party. Johnny allegedly showed up late after the guests left, and so they began to argue, which resulted in Johnny allegedly throwing a bottle of champagne at the wall and wine glasses at her. He then allegedly, quote, grabbed her by the shoulders and pushed her onto the bed, blocking the bedroom door, and grabbed her by the head and shoved her to the ground, unquote. And so that incident, coupled with the one that happened a month later where he allegedly threw the phone at her, that's what caused the couple to separate after the phone incident occurred, which was also the day after his mother had passed away. So it started off as a peaceful conversation and then allegedly just escalated quickly. So the second part of the facts that I wanted to break down was the Sun article and the libel case, when Johnny decided to sue the UK publisher, The Sun, for the wife beater comments. And he sued them because he stated that he wanted to vindicate himself and clear his name. He also alleged that Amber had lied about the abuse and that he was actually the victim. Now I want to clarify that this is a libel suit, so he was suing the publisher, but because of the grounds that he was suing on, the publisher had used Amber as a witness. So he wasn't actually suing Amber, he was suing the publisher. But that's why Amber was at court, because she had to prove that she was actually abused. So during the trial, the publisher presented 14 incidents of alleged domestic abuse committed by Johnny. So of these 14 alleged domestic abuse incidents, the court found 12 of them to be, quote, proven to a civil standard and substantially true, unquote. I would like to reiterate that this is a case that took place in the UK. So proving the truth of allegations in the UK is a job of the defendant, which is the newspaper, the publisher. Opposed in the US, if you're suing somebody for defamation, it is your job to prove that what they're saying is false. But nevertheless, the judge found that 12 of the 14 allegations were proven on the balance of probability. I want to dive into this current trial because this is where shit kind of gets wild. Just to reiterate, Johnny Depp is currently suing Amber Heard for $50 million for defamation in regards to the op-ed that she wrote for the Washington Post in 2018. And he is alleging that she isn't a victim of domestic violence, rather a perpetrator. Throughout this article that she wrote, she described how she lost a movie role in a fashion campaign due to her speaking up, Meanwhile, Johnny's career at the time when she wrote it seemed unfazed. He was just cast in the new Fantastic Beasts film, so it didn't seem like things were slowing down on Johnny's end at that point in time. I would like to highlight the timeline in this specific instance as well, because when she published the op-ed for the Washington Post, it was early 2016, so Trump had not been elected yet, and the Harvey Weinstein Me Too scandal had not happened yet. So this was a very bold move on Amber's end, and it wasn't a guarantee that she would be supported. So after Johnny sued Amber for $50 million, Amber did try to get the case dismissed, but she was denied, so she ended up countersuing for $100 million. And this case has been going on for quite a while, but the trial started a few weeks ago, and it's literally all I see on my timeline because unfortunately for them, it is televised, which, oh my God, I can't imagine. As this trial has been televised, the public has been finding out more and more details of their relationship. And so Johnny is like really trying to drive home and allege that Amber Heard is the actual abuser, and that she kind of had like this Gone Girl-esque master plan to ruin his career and try to take all his money and ruin his reputation. And his team actually hired a psychologist who diagnosed Amber with histrionic personality disorder and narcissism, while the psychologist hired by Amber's team diagnosed her with PTSD. So it's just like, I don't know. So in 2013, Depp was allegedly drunk and high on shrooms and hit Amber and threw glasses at her after she hugged a close female friend, and he ended up allegedly trashing the cabin that they were staying in, which multiple witnesses agreed on. And after this incident, he sent the damning text to an actor named Paul Bettany, and I'm gonna put them on the screen, but basically it was saying like we should burn and kill Amber, and we're going to R-word her unalived corpse and drown her. So it was very graphic and very vulgar, and I can't imagine somebody saying that about their wife. Well, that was the first big incident that happened. And also in 2014, during a private flight back to LA, Amber is alleging that Johnny became very angry and kicked her in the back, causing her to fall to the floor, which he denies, but there are texts after the alleged incident describing himself as a, quote, an angry ago engine in a fucking blackout, screaming obscenities and insulting any F-word who gets near. I'm admittedly too fucked in the head to spray my rage at anyone I love for little reason as well, and I'm too old to be that guy, unquote. So these are texts that Johnny sent to a friend after this alleged incident, which he is denying that happened on a plane in 2014. In March of 2015, Amber also alleged that Depp assaulted her over a period of 3 days where they were in Australia, which is when the tip of his finger was cut off. So Depp is alleging that Amber threw a bottle at him, and that's how it came off, whereas Amber is alleging that Johnny cut off the finger himself, like cut off the tip of his finger himself. So they have very conflicting allegations, but Johnny did testify that none of his other fingers had glass in them, just that one that was injured. And there was also an audio played in court where Amber was begging Johnny not to cut himself. And there was also photo evidence presented in the aftermath of Johnny Depp painting on the wall with his bloody finger, and then he dipped it in paint and like wrote things on the wall saying like easy Amber and everything. I have a picture up, and honestly I would love to know the truth of like the actual finger incident, because honestly whatever it was, like whoever cut it off, like that's insane in my opinion, but it doesn't really matter. Also been audio recordings of Amber admitting to hitting Johnny as well, and there have also been text messages from Johnny to other people referring to himself as the monster, which they call him when he's in his drug-induced state. Texts of him apologizing to Amber after some of these alleged incidents, and there have also been texts about Johnny joking about killing Amber. So that's not good. So these are like the three main incidents that are being continually brought up throughout this case that are going to show like whichever way they swing who the real alleged abuser is. And so now I want to dive deeper into their past legal troubles, because it seems that their legal troubles, well, Amber's legal troubles keep on being brought up, but Johnny is not a saint. So, of course, Amber was arrested in an airport in 2009 for a misdemeanor domestic violence after allegedly hitting her then partner. And the charges were later dropped, and in 2016, her ex did release a statement stating that Amber was, quote, wrongfully accused for an incident that was misinterpreted. So she was like accusing, so like that her ex was basically saying that the officer who arrested her was like homophobic. But yeah, that's Amber's previous legal troubles. Whereas Johnny was arrested in 1989 for assaulting a hotel security guard. And Depp's ex-girlfriend, Ellen Barkin, who was actually set to testify in defense of Amber eventually, she said that the actor allegedly threw a bottle of wine at her and was verbally abusive as well. And Depp was also arrested in 1994 for a second-degree criminal mischief after he allegedly smashed glass lamps and a table in angry fit with his then girlfriend, Kate Moss. Johnny is also currently fighting a lawsuit against a location manager who worked on the film set of City of Lies in 2017, which Depp is starring in, and he alleged that Johnny punched him. So, yeah. Now we're going to dive into the public's disbelief of Amber, because I'm just going to look at a few different incidents where people are saying that they caught her in a lie, and just look at just some of the things that they are accusing her of, because people are convinced that she's a liar and that she's actually an abuser. Honestly, in my opinion, one of the first instances of the public disbelieving her was honestly as soon as she filed the restraining order, because people were saying that she was just a gold digger and trying to get his money or whatever. But we'll let that be. Seems like the first aha moment of the people that are like pro Johnny Depp were the photos after the alleged phone throwing incident, which caused her to file the restraining order. So during this alleged altercation on May 21st, 2016, Amber sustained some injuries during the alleged incident where he allegedly threw his phone at her. And so the next day, on May 22nd of 2016, Amber attended her friend's birthday party, and on the next day after that, on May 22nd of 2016, that friend ended up posting some pictures on the Instagram of just Amber, and it was a group photo, which has since been deleted, but I do have the photo, so I'll insert it here. So these pictures were following the day after the alleged phone throwing incident, okay? And she did have pictures of after, like right after that incident, where she did have bruising. But the pictures that she had of the next day when she was at her friend's birthday party, it looked like she was just fine. But in her defense, her hair was covering the side of her face that was allegedly bruised. And honestly, I mean, I've never been in a domestic violence relationship romantically. I would assume if you have a bruise and if you don't want people in your business, then you would cover it up. So I don't think that that's a strong enough case to show that she's a liar. But anyways, on May 23rd of 2016, this was 3 days after the phone incident, Amber filed for divorce, and on May 25th, 2016, this is when Amber appeared in court to file the restraining order. And then after she was leaving the courthouse, that is when those infamous photos had came out of her leaving the courthouse with the bruises on her face, and people were very quick to try and discredit her. And that specific moment in general is what really polarized the internet, because it was very few people who were like, wow, that's really sad, like, I hope she gets well or whatever. A lot of people are just like, no, she's a liar. She like enhanced the bruises, or like she faked the bruises. And so, but another reason why people feel the need to distrust her would be with the settlement money. So after the restraining order, they did reach a settlement outside of court, and she was given $7 million, which she said she would donate to charity. I believe it was to the ACLU, and she was supposed to donate all of the $7 million, but she did donate $3.5 million. They said that they received that much. She was asked in court recently, actually, why she didn't donate the money. She said it was because she keeps on getting sued, and I mean, that sounds like a valid reason to me. So another reason why the I Hate Amber people disbelieve her and think that she's lying is due to the recording. Basically, in the recording that was leaked, she was basically saying that, oh, so you're gonna say Johnny Depp am a victim of domestic violence. Like, basically, it sounded like she was in a way taunting him, saying that, like, nobody would believe you. But also, in that same recording, in the full recording, because only a snippet of it got leaked, because we weren't supposed to have access to it, but we'll revisit that incident. But in that recording, right before that, she said that she was in fear of her life. So, I don't know, that situation is still up in the air, but she said that she was in fear of her life before she said, do you expect the public to believe that you're a victim of domestic violence? And in my opinion, it doesn't really matter, but she's saying that from the perspective of, I'm scared of my life. I'm scared for my life. So why would you say that you're a victim? Like, what? And so the last big incident was the makeup palette debacle. I don't even know what to call it. Basically, before Amber even got to testify, basically there was a palette that was shown in court, basically saying, like, this is the palette Amber Heard would use. She would use a makeup palette to cover up her bruises whenever she would have to leave the house or whatever. And so that brand, Milani Cosmetics, made that TikTok. I don't even have to reference it, because if you're watching this video, then you know what I'm talking about. So they made that TikTok. And so Amber did go on to clarify in court that the makeup palette was just an example. It wasn't the exact makeup palette that she used, which to me is believable, because this is like, these are incidents that happened like 6 years ago. So that's just me though. That's just me. Believe what you want to believe, I don't care. Forget all of that, because I don't know. Social media has a lot of smoke for Amber Heard. And you can believe what you want to believe. Our opinions really don't matter. I wish that people would be more sensitive and respectful of the fact that this is domestic violence we're talking about. I find it very interesting that people are focusing on Amber just trying to prove that she's a liar and that she's a real abuser, but nobody is talking about Johnny Depp's legal team leaking evidence and the smear campaign that they have for Amber Heard, which is true. These are actual factuals. But we're gonna get into it. So Johnny's legal team has been moving kind of sus for like a few years. And the person who is at the center of all of this is attorney Adam Waldman. Now, this is the part of the video where I'm gonna really need y'all to walk with me, because I know I'm about to sound crazy as hell, and I never even thought half this stuff would come out of my mouth. But these are court documents, so it's facts. So I'm gonna need y'all to walk with me. But Adam Waldman has been very vocal to the press, which is very unusual for lawyers to do. You know, usually they'll make their statements or whatever, but he's been very vocal with the press in general, and it's kind of odd considering the fact that this is such a high profile, sensitive case. And he seems to actually be the person to have convinced Johnny Depp that his recent legal decisions were a good idea, because if you don't know, Johnny Depp is also suing just about everybody around. Adam Waldman allegedly has connections with the Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska and the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who allegedly paid Waldman upwards of $40,000 a month. So he paid him over a period of time over like $2.3 million. Now walk with me. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Waldman was a registered agent for the Russian government and allegedly visited Assange, which is the WikiLeaks founder, 9 times in 1 year at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. And this is important. This is very important, because Waldman ended up being dropped from this case. He still like works with Johnny on like his other cases that have yet to go to trial and everything, but on the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial, he was dropped from this case for leaking confidential information to the press to make Amber look bad. Johnny and this Adam Waldman guy, which is a lawyer who was dropped from the case, they seem to be working together in cahoots to successfully ruin Amber's reputation. And so they are on a smear campaign, and the court ended up actually having to subpoena Adam Waldman because he did leak confidential information to the public, which is that clip, the audio clip of Amber Heard saying like Johnny Depp, am a victim, whatever. Court files. So these are facts in the court files. Basically, it says that Johnny continued to victimize Amber by repeatedly telling friends in profanity-laced messages that he would destroy her. He would never stop, and he wanted her replaced on an upcoming film, which is the Aquaman film.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a voiceover because this is a lot.
This frivolous lawsuit Mr. Depp has filed against Ms. Heard continues that abuse and harassment. Not content to let a jury decide this lawsuit, Mr. Depp and or his agents acting on his behalf have orchestrated a false and defamatory smear campaign against Ms. Heard that has included false and defamatory statements to reporters, repeatedly accusing Ms. Heard of being a liar and a hoax artist, and accusing Ms. Heard of the crime of perjury. The stream of false and defamatory accusations against Ms. Heard is an all attempt to ruin her life and career simply because she was a victim of domestic abuse and violence at the hands of Mr. Depp, and have the audacity and temerity to finally come forward and end the abuse and violence. Ms. Heard has been the victim throughout this relationship and during these ensuing attacks by Mr. Depp, and so these are the facts that are listed in the actual court document. On May 27, 2016, Ms. Heard walked into the California State Court with bruises on her face to seek the protection of a domestic violence restraining order against Depp. Since that time, Mr. Depp has unlawfully targeted Ms. Heard in an ongoing harassment and an online smear campaign in order to damage both her reputationally and financially. In particular, but without limitation, Mr. Depp has initiated, coordinated, overseen, and or supported and amplified 2 Change.org petitions, one to remove Ms. Heard as an actress from the Aquaman movie franchise and one to remove her as a spokeswoman for L'Oreal. As early as 2016, Mr. Depp admitted his intention to destroy her career, stating, for example, that he wanted her replaced on that Warner Brothers film, referencing the blockbuster hit Aquaman. To accomplish this task, he individually and through his representatives and agents in Virginia has created, coordinated, controlled, and or manipulated social media accounts created specifically for the purpose of targeting Ms. Heard, computer-controlled social media accounts, and groups of inauthentic accounts controlled by a single agent to amplify content misleadingly. These accounts exhibit behavior which includes but is not limited to the following. They have high tweet-to-retweet ratios and numbers impossible for authentic human users. They are created, attack Ms. Heard, then are set to inactive to avoid suspension. They utilize common language, patterns, and timing, indicating broad coordination. They often offer little or no personal information, suggesting computer-controlled or a single individual controlling more than one account at a time, and often many more, and they republicize the content of one another at rates and consistencies that belie authentic human control. These accounts are designed to damage Ms. Heard and her livelihood without being directly traceable to Mr. Depp. For example, it appears that a significant number of the accounts signing the petition to remove Ms. Heard from the Aquaman franchise are conspicuously fake or highly suspicious. The use of fake signatures on these petitions is well outside the skill set of the average internet troll or disgruntled fan. They reflect a concerted effort to damage Ms. Heard. In addition, the Change.org petitions were modified to make it appear that far more people signed the petitions than they actually did. As part of his ongoing smear campaign, Mr. Depp and or his agent acting on his behalf have directed both authentic and inauthentic social media accounts and or non-human control bots to target Ms. Heard's Twitter account and attempt to interfere with her contracts and or business expectancies. In particular, many of these accounts both smear and harass Ms. Heard while simultaneously promoting and praising Mr. Depp's agent and attorney, Adam Waldman. The talking points in these accounts are strikingly similar but use slightly different text and content to evade Twitter's anti-spam and platform manipulation guideline, which bars harassing, abusive, and intimidating behavior except, quote, when viewed in the context of a larger conversation, unquote. A herd mentality helps mask predatory behavior. There are a number of newly created foreign language accounts specifically or predominantly designed to damage Ms. Heard. Many of these accounts have Cyrillic signatures reflecting Russian origin. Mr. Waldman, Mr. Depp's agent and attorney, is publicly associated with Russian individuals with the capability to organize such attacks. And then, so they list 2 different accounts, and they say that they are responsible for approximately 50% of the targeted attacks on Ms. Heard. In total, there are at least dozens, if not hundreds, of inauthentic accounts that impugn Ms. Heard while praising Mr. Waldman. This messaging further evidences the origin of Mr. Depp's unlawful campaign and demonstrates that these inauthentic accounts are actively coordinating content to manipulate the Twitter platform and avoid detection. And then they give a long list of different account names. And then it says the above conduct via Twitter appears to be conducted in concert with a reporter named Catherine Armeson on behalf of a publication called the International Business Times. Ms. Armesen, an apparent freelance writer in the Philippines, published 30 negative articles about Ms. Heard in February alone. Notably, Ms. Armesen has almost no other identifiable publishing history outside of the International Business Times, which has been criticized for operating as a content farm. Aside from the few articles about penis enhancement and erectile dysfunction, Ms. Armesen's anti-Heard articles are a deliberate part of a strategy to generate content which inauthentic accounts, including many of the above, then amplify, which further evidence a coordinated smear campaign against Ms. Heard by and through Mr. Depp or his agents. Mr. Depp, through his agents and attorneys in Virginia, including specifically Waldman, had engaged in a campaign to harass and damages Ms. Heard through the use of these computers and computer-accessible vehicles. So yeah, I know like it sounds really crazy, and I honestly would have never thought like Russians and like conspiracy theories would have ever came out of my mouth, but there are like legit cold hard facts and evidence. So there is truth to these wild allegations, and I honestly just like, is it really that deep, Johnny? Anyways, so I would also like to note that Johnny allegedly doesn't have any more close confidence anymore because he is suing business partners and family members that have been around for decades for allegedly mishandling his funds, because he's like, I'm not gonna say he's broke because he has more money than me. So it seems that this Adam Waldman guy has been informing most of Johnny's decisions for quite a while now, and at the end of the day, I think it will be in Johnny's best interest to split away from this guy, because if you want any sort of like a revival for your career and your reputation, it would be to stop picking legal fights, because after there's a paper trail of you losing, Hollywood is not going to want to fuck with you anymore, because it seems like that's what's happening now. But I mean, who am I? But besides this Russian craziness and this weird lawyer guy who is homeboys with the WikiLeaks dude, this is where I start to get frustrated, because it seems that nobody is really acknowledging the power imbalance that existed in Amber and Johnny's relationship. And so there are a lot of ambiguities in this case, and honestly it doesn't really matter what I think. But I want to note that Johnny is 23 years older than Amber, with a lot more fame, power, and money. In order for abuse to continue, there has to be a power imbalance, and you're like well into your 50s. She's in her 30s now, but when they first met, she was in her 20s. How is she not the victim? Anyways, I just feel like you can't ignore that, and like that's something that really should not be overlooked. And Johnny was well aware of this power imbalance as well, because there was an audio clip that was played in court recently of Amber and him arguing, and then Johnny basically getting angry, and then he starts to yell and just tells her to be quiet because she's not a school teacher and she's not like an authority figure at all. So he is very aware that like he has more power than her, and when he started yelling at her in the audio clip, she shut the fuck up. Has such a huge following of like loyal fans, and so I feel like that's something that also can't be undermined as well, because of course people know who Amber Heard is, more people now more than ever do now, but I know who she was, but she just used to star in like cute like teen films, like, but she wasn't on the level of Johnny Depp. Like, she wasn't no Meryl Streep or nothing, which is okay, like I'm not dragging her or anything. But with that awareness, Johnny knew that Amber does not have as many loyal fans nearly as much as he did, and he used that to his advantage, because him and Adam Waldman are aware of that, and that's why they allegedly did the smear campaign and used these fake bots and everything to target Amber Heard. Since Johnny Depp is such this beloved figure in Hollywood, and since he has such a large cult following, it doesn't matter what evidence you produce in defense of Amber, it's some people who will just never believe that. So with these bots and these fake accounts that are spreading such hateful messages and bullying Amber online, you also have his stans as well, who are just pro Johnny Depp and just like, Amber's a liar, I love Johnny. And so they're going to support that as well. So when they're seeing these tweets, whether or not the information is true or not, they're going to be very quick to spread it because of mob mentality. So this is not something that they were not aware of. They were aware that Johnny has very loyal fans as well, and Amber does not. So they use that to their advantage with this alleged smear campaign, and it's working, obviously. And I say this because it is millions of people who will go tooth and nail to defend Johnny, even some of his friends and ex-partners, to say that he is the most kind, caring, loving, gentle person that they have ever met. And it's easy for fans to form an opinion based on who you think somebody is. And this goes for honestly personal and parasocial relationships, in my opinion, because the facts are that Johnny made jokes about killing Amber in multiple text messages and referred to his ex-wife and the mother of his children, Vanessa, who actually went on record to defend him, by the way, as a quote-unquote withering cunt. And he would go on to refer to women as sluts, ugly, fat whores, and worthless hookers. And that does not sound like somebody who is kind, gentle, and caring. Captain Jack Sparrow is a character. We don't know him. And so that leads me into misogyny. We are going to get into it, ladies and gentlemen, because I am so sick and tired. And so yeah, we're going to get into it because I can't help but notice that it seems like the entire world and the people that are deeply invested in this trial can't help but look at this case under a lens of misogyny, and it's very bizarre. Like, the general public's reaction to this trial is what I found the most bizarre, in my opinion, because stan culture is completely out of control, but that's nothing new. But just from scrolling on Twitter or just logging onto YouTube, I would notice that stans would take a small clip from the trial and use it to push a narrative that Johnny is this abused person and that he's a sweet, gentle, kind person, and that Amber is some mastermind, gone girl type of chick. And this can be seen where people literally took a clip of Johnny literally doodling in court. Like, he drew like some kind of picture on a post-it note, and then he showed it to his lawyer, and then so literally everybody was like, oh my god, he's so sweet, does this look like a man would ever hit his wife? Then you can also see this in like that Dakota Johnson video where they were on like some kind of panel, I guess promoting some movie or something, and Dakota notices the finger and she asks him about it, and you can see like he kind of like panics. And I don't want to disregard Johnny's feelings or like whatever it is, because getting the tip of your finger chopped off, whether he did or if she did or whatever, like I'm sure that that's traumatizing. So I don't want to undermine like anything that he's gone through or anything, but it's so interesting. But these are the same people who are sharing a clip of Amber Heard wiping her nose when she's on the stand, and them saying that she is doing cocaine. They are saying that she is on the witness stand. A judge is 2 feet away from her. It's a courtroom full of Johnny Depp supporters, lawyers everywhere. They mean to tell me that she done got into a courtroom and she has snuck cocaine in there nonetheless, and she was bold enough to bring her onto the witness stand where she's testifying, saying that she was allegedly abused. And this is honestly where I have to take a step back, because I was scrolling on Twitter and I saw that damn video and somebody saying, see, she has cocaine in there, and it literally had over 100,000 retweets. Y'all are losing the fucking plot. What? Like, do you hear? Like, before you tweet, you should really say some shit out loud. You mean to tell me Amber Heard is doing cocaine on the stand with a judge 2 feet away from her in a room full of people, and she's trying to defend her fucking innocence? The internet is a crazy place. That one took me the fuck out. I was just like, y'all are a lost cause. Like, y'all can't be helped, because it wasn't retweets. Like 100,000 people agreed. These are the same people who are convinced that Amber is putting on a performance of an abused woman and are literally mocking her testimony where she's recounting her alleged sexual assault. In what world did that become okay? I understand that this is America and I really don't expect much from any of y'all, but I was actually surprised that y'all are doing this to a white woman. But these are the same people who also overlooked that while she's testifying this alleged assault, and just while she's testifying in general, Johnny absolutely refuses to make eye contact with her throughout the entire trial. I'm no therapist, I'm no body language, nothing. I'm 23 years old. Like, I ain't none of that. But y'all seem to know it all, and y'all so quick to say that she's faking. Like, what does recounting a traumatic experience look like? I just feel like it would be safe to say that the way one person may react and recount their events may be completely different than another person will, but that doesn't make their events any less true, or that they shouldn't be heard and acknowledged and regarded as like something very serious, because it is. Like, this is sexual assault and domestic violence we're talking about. You literally mocking her, making a TikTok mocking her and saying fake tears and shit. Like, what? Have some decorum. I just find it funny that people can find sympathy for Johnny, but people can't have sympathy for Amber Heard when she's recounting her alleged sexual assault. But that's just me though. And even if you can't find sympathy for her, like even if you genuinely like in your bones just don't believe her, it is repulsing that anybody would resort to making jokes about any of her testimonies, especially when she's talking about sexual assault and domestic violence, because what if she is telling the truth? And they are making jokes that are deeply rooted in misogyny. And it isn't just the fans. There have been multiple celebrities who have publicly sided with Johnny, which they're free to do, but they also make jokes as well, because these were the same people that had on their pins and hashtag me too, I stand with all women like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so with all that being said, this is how I came to the conclusion that the discourse on social media surrounding this trial had absolutely nothing to do with whether you think Johnny Depp is actually innocent, but more so to do with people using it as a vehicle to harass and spread hate and misogyny and to discredit domestic violence survivors in general. Now, honesty hour. Let me say this. I am an American, a black woman, and we all exist in a society that is very misogynistic, racist, sexist, colorist, fatphobic, all of that. So with that, existing in a society, you are bound to internalize some of that hate. And if you are not self-aware, you are bound to spread it to someone else. So with that being said, when this trial first started off like years ago, and the accusations first came out, like when the restraining order happened, I was like, damn, Johnny, like what the fuck? But then I don't remember when the actual turn for me took, but I just remember him like so aggressively saying that she was a liar and everything. And that's just about all it took for me to like believe that he was actually the victim. Now, I ain't like none of these other stands because honestly, I can care less about the situation in general. These are two rich white people to where I'm going to be tweeting my life away. Like, I just never did that. But there was a point in time where I did believe that Johnny was like an actual victim. I honestly had to check myself. The internet became an absolute dumpster fire, and my timeline was turning into just a hot ass mess, especially in defense of Johnny Depp. I can only speak for myself, but unfortunately I am a Gen Zer, so I get my news from Twitter, which I'm going to stop doing now because I was so quick to just accept that Johnny was a victim and that Amber Heard was a liar, and I didn't go out of my way to tweet anything crazy. When the finger incident had happened, where he was like, no, she chopped it off, and that's when I was like, okay, like she might be crazy. But I never actually took the time to actually form my own opinion or to just butt out of it completely. This is a lesson here. I found it concerning on my end that I was so quick to believe that he was a victim, because there's a lot of damning evidence. I'm not saying that she's perfect, but he is not a victim in my eyes. So I had to really check myself in my internalized misogyny, because this is domestic violence and sexual assault, and I would never want to disregard a survivor's truth and he, she, or they speaking out. I would never want to align myself with a group that is so willing to overlook such serious allegations just because they can't believe that their favorite movie star might be an abuser. Because if we really want to keep it a buck, he is 23 years older than her. And I'm going to keep on saying that. He is 23 years older than her. Honestly, like, if you genuinely want to believe that Johnny was a male victim of domestic violence, because they do exist, and you want to show your support, why don't you just support? I mean, me personally, I think bringing the alpacas to the courthouse is a bit much, but to each his own. But the majority of people that are hashtag Johnny Depp is a victim are spewing hate, harassing Amber and his daughter, and is using this case as a way to discredit victims. And there seems to be such a black and white mindset in regards to this situation that favors Johnny. And from what I've seen, people are so focused on proving that Amber is a liar and that Johnny is this helpless victim, without acknowledging the damning evidence that proves that Amber was allegedly abused. So just say you hate women. Honestly, I think what's so unfortunate about this situation is that Amber did what most domestic violence survivors are supposed to do. Like, she went to the police, she did the police report, she took photos of the bruises, and people were still so quick to say that she's just there trying to get money, which is wild, because what money? She tried to file a restraining order and just move on with her life, but she keeps on getting dragged back into court and having to relive this. She isn't suing Johnny. Johnny is suing her. She has to show up to court. Even with the son thing, she wasn't being sued, but she had to be a witness. She was just trying to move on with her life. When, like, number one, allegedly he's going broke, and number two, like, she only got $7 million out of that marriage from the settlement, and half of it went to charity and the other half is being spent on legal fees. She didn't get any properties, no new cars, none of that shit. So the gold digger shit is just like fucking ridiculous. And because she keeps on getting dragged back to court, I'm more inclined to believe that this is more about him trying to take her down as well, especially since there are court documents and text messages saying that he's going to take her down and he wants her removed from the Aquaman film. And she even testified and stated that her role in that film was cut significantly due to all the negative press that she's been getting. So that's all I have in the conversation. I hope that Amber Heard gets justice as well and finds healing on the other side of this. Hopefully they're done going to court after this is all said and done. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Be sure to comment down below and please be respectful even if you don't like my opinion. If you want to have a dialogue in the comments, I'll be more than happy to respectfully. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also be sure to follow me on my social platforms at @_planetsyd on everything, and be sure to check out my clothing brand Main Character The Label and my movie themed makeup brand Box Office Beauty. And yeah, I hope you guys feel safe and seen wherever you are, and I hope you guys are finding joy and fulfillment on your journey of self-expression. Until next time.